We are not members of the LGBTQ plus community. We approach this podcast as learners, not experts. Our intent is to educate ourselves and engage thoughtfully, not to exploit or speak on behalf of others. The opinions shared are our own and may not reflect everyone's experiences. We welcome feedback and invite corrections so we can continue to grow and be better allies. Hello, everyone, and welcome back again to The First Time in Drag. This is episode 3, Queens of All Media. I want to say, if you're still here with us, thank you for putting up with some of our audio and video issues over the first couple of episodes. This whole recording a podcast remote thing is a little tough, so we appreciate you hanging out. If this is your first time joining us, what are you doing? Why are you starting on episode 3? That's weird. Go back to episode 1. I know the audio is a bit weird, but it's fine. You'll get over it. Episode 1, episode 2 are still good. You should go watch those. I am Kevin. This is Dax. This is a weird place to do an intro, so I might cut this one out. Who knows? Maybe we'll leave it in. I'm Kevin. This is Dax. If you're here for the 3rd episode, you probably know that by now. And we are going to be doing episode 3 of RuPaul's Drag Race season 1. This episode is called Queens of All Media, and I think it's going to be a good one. Dax, any thoughts before we start jumping into the episode?
This one was an interesting one, mostly because it deals with a figure that's so influential, and I have some opinions. So I'm patiently waiting to dive in.
Do you want to go over like Queen you're excited for and Queen you're sus of before we dive into the actual meat of the episode?
We can. I mean, I don't know what we really mean by sus, but before the episode, I think I didn't really have anyone that I was excited for because the last episode was just so full of mediocrity, honestly.
Yeah.
But I don't know if because listen, guys, I'm reading prompts that he's given me to take notes on this episode because he knows this way better than I do. This is my first time through it.
It's a loose prompt, but yeah.
Right. The prompt is Queen I'm already sus of. I'm not really sus of it. I mean, all these dudes are sus in my realm of the world, right? Yeah. If we're talking the traditional sense of sus. But if we're going to talk about the Queen that I was expecting to get voted out in this episode, I wrote down Akasha. Could not write down Akasha, right? She was in the bottom. Honestly. 2 episodes in a row, has some very serious attitude problems. Second episode was obviously not a leader. I mean, we went over some of that. If you haven't seen it, go watch the second episode. But in reality, showed that Akasha is full of talent, but not quite full of skill. So already didn't expect Akasha to make it through this episode.
Yeah. I wrote the same thing. I think that's what Queen I'm sus of is intended. Like, who you think is going to get knocked out? Who you think is going to get eliminated this episode? And I agree, Akasha. I feel like the writing's been on the wall. As you've mentioned, obviously a competitor, and I think that's what's kept her around for honestly the last 2 episodes. She could have easily gone home, right? And just had some competition that wasn't up to par. So I think the low-hanging fruit has been kind of whittled out. We're getting down to a relatively small number of queens. We started with a small number at the beginning of the season, and we're now to, I think, a pretty tight group. So Akasha's definitely, it feels like her days are numbered.
Is it usually more, Queen? Because we start with 8 or
usually more? Yes, I think they get up to like 16.
Holy hell! Wow.
Yeah, it's usually quite a few. And the episodes and the way the elimination and stuff works can be different season over season. So like in this season, we get immunity for like the next week for winning some of the challenges, or maybe all of them. I honestly can't remember if it's been both episodes before this one. But that's not something that's like consistent throughout the series. So sometimes there is no immunity. Sometimes there is immunity, but it's like some weird extra challenge that you have to like go through. It's a little bit crazy, and they changed it up, which I think keeps the whole thing pretty interesting.
It's funny that you say that because I didn't really like clock that there was an immunity like mechanism until they were last episode complaining about Nina having immunity but being such, a piece of shit in the challenge. So
Yeah.
like it continually, you mention it, and it continually dawns on me like, oh yeah, they have immunity, so like don't have to worry about this person.
Yeah, they don't talk about it much throughout the show, which is why I was like struggling to remember. But they have had immunity so far. Nina was immune in episode 2, and then Angina was immune this week. And immunity is up for grabs for this challenge. So I think it'll be consistent throughout the season, at least until we get down to a couple of queens. Then they'll probably get rid of that. But it does seem like it's here to stay, at least for another episode or two. Let's dive into this specific episode and kind of the details around it. As I mentioned before, this one's called Queens of All Media, and the whole concept of this episode, I think, is around Oprah and the way Oprah has sort of built her success. This again was like in 2008, 2009 that we were filming this, so this was a pretty high, or a pretty man, what's the word I'm looking for here?
Words are hard,
like
man.
a peak of Oprah's popularity. Like we're up at the tippity top. Everybody knows who Oprah is. And like most people are obsessed. Oprah was like getting presidents elected at this point. Right.
Yeah.
So peak popularity, I guess, is what I was looking for.
I mean, beside popularity, right? Oprah is an absolute icon. And like Chanel goes in to say like Oprah and Cher are God, which is like kind of weird to me. I'm not sure that I idolize anyone to that level.
We'll get into Chanel's opinion of Oprah,
but like
for sure.
Listen, at the very core, like her or hate her or love her, Oprah is an absolutely giant influential figure. Being a woman, being Black, and being so wildly successful on her own shoulders. So like this, honestly, when they started diving into this challenge and everything centering around Oprah, like I already knew that this was a big one. Maybe not, I didn't realize it was so big culturally for I suppose like gay or queer culture, but honestly, like especially being an African American myself, like huge culturally for African Americans as well.
Yeah. I honestly didn't know and still don't know how specific to gay culture Oprah is, or if that's just something that kind of happened. Because honestly, you talk to 5 people in 2008, 4 of them love Oprah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it was just so common. And as you mentioned, Chanel is like obsessed with Oprah. We'll get into that in a little bit. All of this, I think, is a relatively good segue into the quote unquote mini challenge that we had in this episode, which wasn't really a mini challenge. We rocket into all of this, by the way, for anybody who hasn't seen this. If you're like a fan of later Drag Race seasons, you kind of understand the pacing. This season has been a little bit funky. This episode specifically, we rocket into stuff. I wrote down by the 6th minute, we're already into like the workroom for the Maxi Challenge. So just not a ton of time spent on the rest of the intro and the beginning of the episode. And the first thing that Ru does after the Shemale segment is come out with a pop quiz. And this pop quiz is very short, and it's a couple of questions that all kind of specifically relate back to Oprah, right, to set the stage.
Yeah, I did. I didn't even really clock what was going on. I wrote down like, is this trivia night? Like I didn't really know what was happening, nor did I really understand that all of the answers like kind of came back to formulate that we're going to do what did you call it? The Maxi Challenge. We're going to do a Maxi Challenge around Oprah. Like very, very abstract, but also done super
I did
quickly.
Not know that either.
Yeah,
for sure. I did not clock because they were like, to me, they sounded like 3 very random questions, and I didn't understand what it was. And Ru was like, what do all these things have in common? And all the queens are like, Oprah. And I was like, what?
Yeah, someone fed these queens this answer because there ain't no way they knew that this was about Oprah.
Yeah, I believe Chanel knows now that we know how Chanel feels about Oprah, but I don't believe, especially Jade. I think there were a couple of queens that didn't seem to have a firm grasp. Also, Nina didn't seem to have a firm grasp of Oprah and who she was.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into like the differences surrounding how people were interpreting Oprah, I'm sure, here pretty soon. But I thought already, I mean, we can go ahead and tell them what the challenge is. The challenge is to, what was the challenge? Because I think that's a point of contention as well. I heard Ru say impersonation, right?
Yep.
Others took it as like interpretation or inspire. She said
embody or something.
Yeah, Oprah inspired look, right? I think was what I wrote down as a quote. But there were like other things being thrown out, like inspiration, impersonation, which already impersonation is like a huge red flag because, hey, listen, not all of these queens are black, right? We can't be up there doing Oprah impersonation. Listen, it may not be 2025, but it's at least 2009. Barack Obama is president. We can't be doing blackface on TV. Okay. So already I was like, well, do we really mean impersonation? Like this is getting a little dangerous. I think Jade even calls that out, right? Jade is like, I'm not black.
Yeah. I think that's great. We can just jump right into it because again, the mini challenge was nothing. It was like these 3 softball questions about Oprah and the whole thing. They didn't even pick a winner. The whole thing was just to set up the main challenge, which is, and I wrote this down. I got some of this information off of the wiki, but the main challenge this week was a talk show host style challenge where the queens are asked to embody Oprah Winfrey. And the point of this is, I believe, to set the queens up in what had become a pretty common TV talk show format of having a news-like segment. This is also akin to Oprah, who I think did spend some time as a news anchor woman. There's like a news segment where you're reading off a teleprompter, also very common in talk show, especially on intro monologues, etc. Then there was a product segment where the queens would then present a product and kind of ad lib or improv some details around the product. And then we ended with an interview with these are our 2 special guests for the episode for the interview, Tori Spelling and Dean McDermott. For anybody who may not know, Tori Spelling is like a longtime soap actress who I think started when she was quite young, was in things like Beverly Hills 90210. She, at the time, I think had written a book and had recently started a show with her then husband, Dean McDermott, which is a reality style, like a TV reality style show about their life, I believe. So that's why they're on, to get a real interview. So to be clear, these are real people. And the reason I specify that is because of the way Akasha acts a little bit later. And we'll get into that. But these are real famous people who are on in like a real interview setting to help promote their show. So they should have been treated as such. And I think some of the queens maybe struggle with that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just,
that's the challenge as a whole.
Yeah. Overall, I think it's really, really interesting because it does hit a lot of aspects. Listen, Oprah got started in radio, right? So already she was like a voice and a master of voice and speech. It takes a very, very special person to be successful on radio. After that, I believe she did move into like news. Listen, I don't know Oprah's entire trajectory. But it was like news show after news show, having her own segments on news shows. I think that may have included like product coverings, obviously, as it was part of the challenge. But then like the ultimate, having her own show. So it was really interesting how they tried to like really hit all of those details as Oprah started to skyrocket to the absolute inspiration that she is. I was excited when they talked about this challenge. A little nervous, but excited.
Yeah, this is a big industry one. It reminds me of like being in high school and taking elective courses for like broadcasting or anything. And like, this is very much just sort of throwing you in the deep end of what it's like to be out in front of a camera, like be professional. It's a very different type of entertaining than I think a lot of these queens are used to. And I feel like that becomes apparent in the way a lot of the queens perform in this challenge.
Before we even get to performing in this challenge, can I just talk about, listen, these queens are supposed to be performers, right? They're supposed to be, actors to a certain extent. And these may be some of the most inflexible performers I've ever seen in my life. And when I say inflexible, I don't mean like they can't do the things that they're doing and they can't flex their performance. I am saying their willingness to flex out of their comfort zone to create something completely different or completely new, maybe outside of Angina, because we've seen that already. But like
Angina's,
overall, these people are completely inflexible. And that is such a detractor as someone who's looking for a performer, someone who's looking to hire, work with. Like the less flexible you are, the less people want to work with you. And these are some of the most inflexible performers I've seen, at least portrayed on screen.
Yeah, and I think that comes through quite a bit for some of these queens, but it's also, that's a consistent through line throughout the whole series. And that might be something related to how, drag artists get into drag and kind of the reasoning behind that. So it's definitely something interesting to keep an eye on as we continue to watch. But 100% see what you're talking about. And I think to your point, Angina is a good example of being that kind of flexible. I talked about this in the last episode where Angina is kind of known for not wearing wigs and like being a bald queen, and gets a critique on it in episode 1. And then immediately in episode 2 puts on a wig. Like the situation called for it. It was something that Angina wanted to demonstrate is not like a point of contention, but an opportunity for her to, be flexible and change. And I think she kind of killed it, between that and this challenge, which wasn't her best, but I think she did well. But again, kind of to your point, before we get into the performance, I think there was a lot of stuff that happened in the workroom, that I would love to talk about. Not the least of which is us getting some talking heads and some additional information throughout the beginning of this episode about Akasha and like her backstory, being kicked out at 16 and like all the kind of stuff she's dealt with. So I wanted to hear if you had any thoughts on that.
I am the worst person to talk to about hard backstories and rough childhoods and whatnot, because I am so skeptical of that type of thing. One, like everyone, if you talk to anyone, they've all got a rough past story. You have to be relatively
unfortunately
affluent.
Common.
Yeah, it's unfortunately common.
To not have a rough backstory.
Exactly. And as a person who's had a background of just talking to a lot of people in scenarios where they want to freely give you their backstory, I've heard the same thing over and over again so many times that it's really, really easy for me to drown it out or even discredit it, which is what I found doing with Akasha's backstory. Because Akasha, the thing that Akasha said is, I got kicked out when, I think at a very young age, I think she said 16 or 17, something like that. Mostly because I was gay is what he said.
Mostly.
Right? Mostly because I was gay, which clocks to me as you were already a problem. And the way that you act on this show in front of people and in front of cameras where you're going to be seen by millions of people tells me that when you're not being seen on camera, you're probably causing problems. So I don't want to discredit that being gay is a hardship. And you know what? Akasha probably had some hardship with his parents coming up as a young gay Black. I can tell you, especially in the African-American community, coming out as gay is very difficult. So I definitely want to give credit to that. But honestly, the way that it comes across is part of your hard backstory was your own fault.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that. I think both of us are kind of in that scenario. Both of us had our own hardships growing up, and it does become, for me, I start getting red flags when I hear people using their hard past as an excuse for their current behavior.
Yes.
That's what gets me, I think. It's one thing if we're having a heart to heart, you've been a great person so far, and then you just open up and tell me all these horrible things. That's terrible. I feel awful about it. When you have a bad attitude, kind of treat everyone around you like shit, and then go, oh, well, I had a hard childhood and, that's why I'm like this. It's like, are you like this because you had a hard childhood, or did you have a hard childhood because you are like this?
Yeah, that's an
Right?
incredible mix of like self-awareness and lack of self-awareness. Like, which one is it? Are you self-aware or you're just not self-aware?
It reads as like excusing. And there's a moment in the workroom, because Rue walks around, does the little walkthrough in the workroom, and gets to Akasha and talks about Akasha being like, Akasha resonates, I think, with Oprah, is what she says, because of how generous Oprah is. And she's like really generous. And Rue's like, oh, like you've been generous with stuff. And Akasha says, like, letting people live with me rent free. And then nothing else, literally no other examples of how Akasha is generous, like, at all.
Hey.
And like, if you compare that to the hyper competitive mindset that she's showing, it gets a little hard to believe that you're particularly generous.
It's all a show. Like, hey, I let someone crash
Yeah.
on my couch as not being generous, right? And that's tough
Right.
because you can tell, like, she didn't expect to be pressed on that question. And all she could come up with was, I let people live with me rent free because there's that one dude back on Akasha's couch currently not paying rent, right? Like, get out of here with that.
Yeah.
I don't believe that.
Who might be like a friends with benefits or something. And it's just
absolutely.
like, you have no idea what the situation is. Yeah. Yeah. Totally agree with that. So I also, we're both kind of skeptical, I think, of leveraging like sad backstories to get empathy, or especially if it seems like it's being leveraged as an excuse for like current behavior. Very much, I'm like this because my life is hard, and if you don't like it, get over it, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a toxic way to think.
It's a terrible justification for being a bad person.
Yeah. Agreed. We also have in the workroom, while walking around, a very, very excited Chanel. I don't know if Chanel had like 2 cups of coffee this morning, or maybe a little bump of Coke before she walked in, but like Chanel was on it. Like Chanel was on one in this workroom.
Yeah, she was very excited. I mean, like I said, the first words out of her mouth after the trivia piece and putting together that the next challenge was going to be about Oprah was, Oprah and Cher are God, which
Our God.
like is a whole new like ideal of reverence for these people, right? And then from there, Chanel's ass was on fire the whole time. It was so much confidence that when Rue came over and was kind of critiquing Chanel's choices in outfit, Chanel was like, no, this will be fine. I promise you. This is exactly what you would see Oprah in if she were, doing an event at some university or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, it wasn't. It wasn't.
No, it was on screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wrote down, when Rue talks to Chanel and Chanel brings out this, I wrote a Flash Gordon looking costume to present.
Yes,
as
that's
Oprah.
exactly what it was. Shazam before he comes down from like the gods or something. Like, what is going on?
It looked insane. It looks like some 1960s or 70s take on futuristic something. Like it was a choice of an outfit in general. It was a heck of a choice of an outfit for an Oprah-esque talk show challenge.
Yes.
I do not think it fit the bill.
By the way, Chanel in this challenge, very, very close to brown face. All right. Chanel's one of the whitest people on this show. And that makeup was very, very dark. was way darker than her natural skin tone. So like, listen, it's 2009. Things, aren't quite as awoken yet, but very close to brown face Chanel. Like you were hinging on something there.
Yeah. Pretty risky stuff, I think. The whole thing, because we kind of get into that as well. It is Jade. And I genuinely died whenever Jade started talking about this. I thought it was too funny that Jade thought the request was to like impersonate Oprah as far as doing blackface.
Yeah.
And was like, I don't have makeup dark enough, and was going up to BB like, hey, do you have darker makeup so I can borrow it? And honestly, Chanel did her a huge favor of being like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing that? I don't think that's what they meant.
Yes, it became evident that throughout the challenge, it was more about embodying Oprah, which is already interesting. Like, what is Oprah really? What does she mean? Who is she? How do I embody the magnitude of Oprah? But yes, Jade was very, very close to making a very, very public mistake. And Chanel did some service there, bringing her out of that mindset.
Yeah. So good on Chanel. I do think Chanel, Jade kind of pivoted pretty quickly, and then we honestly don't see a ton about Jade throughout this episode after that, even though it was really funny. Chanel, on the other hand, kind of maintains that crazy confidence and suffers from what is commonly referred to in Drag Race as Delulu. Very delusional about this challenge and her like performance in it. Yeah, write that one down.
It's a new word. I've got it. Yeah, I've got my glossary right here for every episode. I tore out this now stained sheet of paper. It is my glossary. We're writing down Delulu.
Delulu, yeah, delusional about what she looks like, about her ability to perform in this challenge. Just rough.
Yeah,
I think Akasha has a little bit of that Delulu too.
Honestly, Chanel could have killed this challenge with how excited she was. But when we get into the actual challenge, that excitement completely took over her ability to perform. And that happens in sports too. You can be so excited that you miss the ball, right? You can be so excited that you blow out your heart rate in the first round of the fight, and now you can't fight anymore. And that's exactly what happened to Chanel.
Queens in the challenge. Let's do this. Let's jump here. All right.
But wait, there are queens up there that are not in this challenge.
Yeah, this is just a generic picture of all the queens. Look, man, it's hard to find images and stills of this because I can't take them. I can't take any out of the episode.
How many times are you going to force me to stare at Tammy Brown's ass, bro? That's what I want to know.
As many as I can.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I can't wait for season 2. Just so that's out of my mind.
Just so Tammy Brown's gone.
Honestly.
Season 2 has some bangers of queens too. So I can't wait for that.
I'm ready for that. Honestly. Hell
yeah. Season 2 has some bangers. So yeah, let's jump into how the queens perform. You'll have to get over the fact that Tammy's on your screen right now. But how the queens actually do in the challenge. And I think we can start with Chanel, right? We've been talking about Chanel quite a bit. And I think for the prompter segment, she just kind of struggled. Like, she didn't do bad. Like, she was kind of reading through it, but it did seem like she was struggling a little bit with some of the words, and you could kind of see it on her face as they came up. Like, you had to see her kind of work out what she was reading, and then she would say it.
Well, I think there were some things that they put in the teleprompter portion that were meant to, like the last names. The last names of some of these people were like crazy that they were reporting on. I can't remember what it was, but it was like Julian, Junko Fifi, or some crazy mess like that. They had
some wild words. They were intentionally throwing in words from other languages and stuff. Yeah.
Yes. But overall, I think, when it comes to the teleprompter challenge, in comparison to the other queens, Chanel was relatively near the top. The reading was not super bad, aside from like stumbling over some African name.
Yeah. And I think part of that is the intention, obviously, when you hear the script, the intention is to trip you up, is to give you words
Yes.
you've probably never seen written before and make you try to sound them out. So they expect you to not necessarily know it. And it's more about how well can you keep your composure and kind of work through it. And I think Chanel did that well. Not the best, but definitely in the top out of the queens.
Because that is an Oprah thing, right? When have you ever seen a clip of Oprah straight up losing her composure on screen?
Right.
Never.
Right.
Never. Now, I'm saying this, and whoever's watching this, our 3 loyal fans and my mom, are probably going to post a video of Oprah losing her shit. But like, it's so rare that it is not popular in my mind. I like to think I've seen Oprah do a lot of things.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that's a big portion of this entire challenge is that we are trying to throw you curveballs and we want you to keep it together on camera.
Yes.
And I think Chanel did pretty well on the teleprompter. I think maybe we go through each queen and all 3 of their segments and we do that. It'll be a little bit easier.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Okay, so Chanel prompter, not a huge long clip of it in the episode, mostly because I think she just kind of struggled a little bit with a couple of the words, but really powered through it. And other than that, like not a performance of note, I think. Then we get to the item promo segment, the live item promo segment. And the clip we have here is Chanel kind of talking and then stopping and then going, I'll try to quote this as best as I can. But Chanel goes, "Oh, I saw you put your hand up like this and I thought that meant to stop. So that messed me up and I kind of stopped." And I can't stop imagining someone doing that on a live broadcast and like just immediately turning from the camera and talking to someone off camera about like background stage directions while they're live broadcasting.
You'd never be on QVC ever again. Listen,
ever again.
There's a guy that broke a whole sword and cut himself. Everyone's seen that clip. He was still on QVC after he healed up. You talk to someone off camera like, oh.
Took it like a champ.
No way. Never on QVC again. You're gone. Lori Grinder's fired. You know what I mean? You're out.
Yeah. Which is, I think, hilarious because we just talked about how I believe the entire challenge is set up to test how you deal with making mistakes. Like, can you keep your composure? And then to just drop character, drop everything, straight face, just start talking to a producer right off of the camera, like not looking at the camera anymore, not addressing anything else going on and talking about like stage direction and stuff was hilariously wrong in my mind. I was like, this is possibly the worst way you can handle this situation.
And listen, the outfit didn't make it better either because it's such a loud outfit. I know we already talked about it, but like, listen, I don't think we have a picture of it up here, so I have to describe it.
I wish we did.
If Flash Gordon and the queen of the aliens from Mars Attacks got together and banged and had a baby, that's what this outfit, I mean, the collar was all the way up above her head and then like sweeping across her body, all and crazy
it had this,
style.
Like, fold. It had this like fold that stayed too close to her head, so it looked like it was kind of like asymmetrical. It was bad. It was bad. It may have flown in a different challenge, like can you be a weird vampire challenge? But for this, Oprah wouldn't be caught dead in that, man. And Oprah wouldn't be caught dead in that. Yeah, no shot. Oprah would wear something like that. So yeah, very funny, extra funny for that. And then we get to Chanel's interview. And this again is with Tori Spelling and Dean McDermott. And Chanel, I didn't write a ton. Like we don't see a ton of Chanel's interview either. The one thing I did write is Chanel would not shut up for just 1 second.
Chanel shit the bed. Shit the bed on this challenge, man. Even what was it? Tori Spelling was like, you just asked me 6 questions. Which one do you want me to answer? And this is where I was detailing where excitement can absolutely ruin your performance because it was 6 questions back after back after back. What do you think? Or I know you guys have a new show together. What do you think of that new show? Or are you still recording that new show? Wait a minute. Do you even enjoy working together? And it was just question after question after question. It's like, holy shit, woman. You need to slow down so I can answer one of them. And it was honestly, it was probably the worst performance in that interview section was Chanel.
It performance-wise was terrible. Like there wasn't, it was so bad because Chanel just would not stop talking, but there wasn't even anything like slightly humorous or something about it to kind of bring it back around or make it seem maybe campy or satirical or something. There was nothing. It was just Chanel just like rambling at these poor people for however long.
And then looking at them with excitement, waiting for them to answer one of those questions, just locking eyes with them and just waiting for something to come out of their mouth. It's like, whoa, you're trying far too hard to be your idol. Like, and you're missing it. You're missing it hard right now.
Yeah, this was a big miss, I think. I also have a quote. Chanel said to Tori, you were always one of my biggest, or you were always one of my true fans, is what she says. And then later in the interview about it, Dean looks at Tori and was like, you are her truest fan. It's like, she meant I was always one of your true fans.
Yep.
Right. But she just flopped it around and said, Tori, you love me.
Yeah, drunk, I'm not swear, officer.
Yes, very much that. So not a solid showing for our girl Chanel in this episode, despite the excitement and the obsession or appreciation for Oprah.
It's really funny how like these queens are so inconsistent, because one week we'll have a favorite and the very next week that queen is in the dumps because they just shit the bed. They screw something up so bad. Yeah, very true. I think like Nina, right, from episode 1 killed it. Episode 2 shit the bed really hard. Chanel, episode 2, we were talking about how strong of a competitor they are, how well they could take off in this competition. Episode 3, shit the bed. Yeah, I'll say the queens that have been consistent for me so far have been Ongina and BB. Honestly, yep, like 100%.
Both of them have been the most consistent. They're always good, if not great. We haven't seen a ton of super greatness out of either one of them yet, but it's still very early.
You know why that is?
So yeah,
they are the most flexible. Ongina more than BB, but BB has a very particular style, but will never be like. She's not one of the queens out there. Oh my God, what am I going to do? As soon as the challenge goes on, wheels are turning. All right, I'm going to hit this. I'm going to hit this. I'm going to get that. And that's what, I mean, maybe I wouldn't make very good TV, but like that's a competitor right there. Like you hear the challenge. It's not about what am I going to do? I don't know if I can. It's all right. This is my task. I'm going to break it down into these small pieces. I'm going to put these small pieces together. It's going to be a whole show and I'm going to go out there. I'm going to kill it.
Yeah, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to get it done, and I'm going to do it well.
Yes.
And yeah, you definitely get that. I think both BB and Ongina have been extremely professional as well. Like both seem easy to work with. Both seem easy to be around. Both seem really good at like taking direction and, like you said, being flexible and kind of adapting to the situation. We'll get into them. Actually, we could just jump into Ongina's performance if you want.
Oh, man. Can we? Because I'm so excited about it. Listen, I know
Let's talk about Ongina. Yeah,
I know you said in the beginning that you don't think Ongina really hit this episode, but honestly, I still think Ongina hit. Like, not only like the look wasn't super duper clean, the wig was a little, I don't know, can I say sussy? The wig was a little sussy, but the way that Ongina took not only the like confidence that Oprah breathes, but then made it her own by adding like that little Asian flair, got me. I was done as soon as she added the Asian flair and made it her own. I thought it was one of the best performances on specifically this like Oprah challenge.
Yeah, I think Ongina and Nina both kind of leaned on the same thing. Both of them struggled a little bit with things like the teleprompter. Like Ongina does a good job with the teleprompter, but also struggles with some of the like more difficult words, but leverages this kind of like calm, confident humor behind it that almost leads you into thinking this is like a Saturday Night Live sketch of a newscast or something.
Yes.
Which is not a bad thing.
Not bad at all.
Of them.
Still professional.
Yeah.
It still comes off as professional, and that's what's important.
Very professional.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think this kind of elevated both of them. I think you can tell from sort of the workroom setup that both Nina and Angina Nina maybe more so, a little bit hesitant about this challenge in general. Like,
a little
don't
flustered.
necessarily think they're going to do super great. Yeah. A little flustered. But
especially Nina
Angina
with like
keeps it together.
Yeah, and Nina with like the language barrier. She was really worried about.
Let's group this up. Let's talk about Nina too. Let's group them up.
I think
both of them did pretty similarly.
Yeah. Which Nina, by the way, look, I wrote it here. Definitely Russian Oprah, but can't read for shit. but can't read a damn word in English.
I thought Nina was a character straight out of an Austin Powers movie or something, honestly.
It was so perfect. It was such a believable look, man. It was good.
It was very good. It was very funny. And again, leaned that satirical, right? And I think Nina and Angina, I think, while engaging in this challenge in a similar way, are kind of like slightly different levels of it, right? Where I think Nina struggled a bit more on things like the prompter and some of the other challenges, but leaned heavier into that kind of funny character, satirical version of what was going on, where Angina struggled a little less and leaned a little less into that, I think, because of that. But both of them did extremely good jobs, keeping the humor, keeping the confidence, and just rolling with the punches.
And I think that's what made them so good at this challenge is, again, we talked about it with, who was it? We only spoke about Chanel, right? It was about keeping that composure. Keeping that composure, no matter if it's Nina struggling with the words, Angina overall just kind of struggling with the content, keeping that composure, leaning into their culture, really, and allowing that combination to kind of carry them forward with this like ultra confidence that was just so good.
Yeah. And I think that carried over from the prompter into the item promo segment, where both of them, I think, did a little better here because they were allowed to kind of improv and lean into who they were. I don't think either of them did like a particularly great job from a QVC lens, but if you look at it through like a Saturday Night Live or like a sketch comedy lens or something, both of them killed it. They were both good, genuinely funny in those segments.
You know what? Even on QVC, may get some sales just because it's so dang funny. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. You probably would. Liven things up a little bit. Keep it interesting. You know? Because just genuinely funny. And this also carries over for both of them into the interview. It's very similar vibes kind of through the entire challenge. Like, I know I'm probably going to struggle with this a little bit, but as long as I just keep rolling and I keep it funny, then we're going to be okay. Nina has a pretty big like misspeak moment in the interview where Nina says, "Tell me about your HIV," which is a crazy thing to say to somebody.
So funny, man. So great. And Tori and gosh, I can't remember his name now, but they leaned into it. They thought it was Tori and Dean leaned into it. They thought it was hilarious as well because you know what? Yeah. English is your second language. English even sounds like your third language, and that's okay. And we can understand that. And we can all think that it's funny that you asked about HIV instead of my hit TV show.
Yeah. Yeah. And, Nina also immediately recognized that she made a mistake, but she like sort of laughed it off and rolled with it with the guests. And it wasn't like let me stop and address the producer about it real quick. It was very much just keep the performance going, and keeping things funny. And there were plenty of clips of Ru for both Nina and Angina just laughing off camera. And like, if you want to do well in this show, get Ru to laugh.
Really? Is that one of the rules? If you make Ru laugh in a good way, then it's probably good.
Yeah, honestly, just make Ru laugh. And it's a relatively easy thing to do, as you may have picked up on. But when in doubt, make Ru laugh and you'll probably be okay.
Listen, if that slip up had happened to Chanel would have died right then and there. Soul would have left the body. Yeah. It would have been over. No more Chanel. We don't even have to vote anybody off. Away. Yes, absolutely.
Just dried up and shriveled up right there.
As soon as HIV left her mouth, it just would have been,
Yeah. Yes. Both of these queens, I think, did a really good job of like bringing the funny and struggling, but struggling in a way that was endearing and kind of brought us along with them.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Next, someone I've really have been kind of excited to talk about is Rebecca Glasscock for this challenge. I think I've been pretty hard on Rebecca since the jump. She hasn't been super impressive to me and been relatively boring. However, in this challenge, kind of specifically on the teleprompter, but through the rest of it, honestly, kills it. Killing it on the teleprompter, dude. Rebecca to me sounds like a professional newscaster reading that teleprompter. Like, doesn't stumble over anything, just real smooth.
So I'm gonna be real with you. I had to rewind during this episode. I didn't watch this episode twice for the first time because I think I'm getting good at like eyeing things now. But for the first time, I rewound during the episode because I kept getting Rebecca Glasscock and Jade mixed up. Not only were they not shown very often, but they have very, very similar looks. They're the more fishy Jennifer Lopez looking like,
and they both look really similar out of drag too.
So yes, they're very close.
It's hard to tell them apart.
Yes, but what I did write down for Rebecca Glasscock is cross-eyed ? Hair is weird.
Yeah.
The hair was weird. The hair was weird.
Yep.
And like, was she cross-eyed? If I remember, Rebecca was the one with like the Pam Anderson hair, right? And I think it was the eyelashes.
Blonde, bigger hair.
The eyelashes made her look cross-eyed. So like to me already the look was a little bit off. For the first time for me, for Rebecca or Jade. Honestly, I thought Jade's look was a little off too, but we'll get there. Rebecca Glasscock read really, really well. She performed the challenges really, really well, but overall, like the look was a little off. Cross-eyed, weird hair girl.
Yeah, she did look a little disheveled. I think I don't know, maybe you ran here from the subway or something like that.
Yes.
Like, the hair was a little bit messed up, like the dress. Rebecca also opted to make a brand new dress for this challenge, which was not part of the challenge. Nobody else opted to do that. And Rebecca decides, I'm going to make a new dress. And I don't know that it really helped. I think Ru comments on it in the workroom and just expresses concern for Rebecca having time to put her look together before they start. I think I said the other day that I believe they have like a week to prep for this. I feel like in this season is a lot less time. I think they say in this episode they only have 3 hours to get everything ready to put it together. So I could be wholly wrong on the previous episodes on how long they had. If they only had a few hours, that does change things a little bit for the like girl group challenge. But
but that girl group, there was definitely like, there was some time lapse in there because they were like going back into the workroom for like the morning. But this one
on stage for
this one definitely was a condensed time frame, so super quick.
Very quick.
Yeah,
it was very quick, and I think Ru's concern is valid by the time we see Rebecca's look on camera. To your point, doesn't look great. Like, this is not Rebecca. Usually easily one of the prettiest queens. Makeup not on point. Like, makeup looks a little rough. The wig looks a little rough. The whole dress doesn't fit like super duper well. It doesn't look bad, but it doesn't look great. And it certainly doesn't look like it's to the tier that should be expected, which is unfortunate because, again, performance wise, I think Rebecca actually killed this challenge.
Absolutely. I think the reading was great. The product like launch deal looked like it could have been on QVC that day, no edits, and would have been perfect. And then even in the interview, like they called out, I believe it was for Rebecca. They called out like the lean in and hand on the chin, like perfect etiquette, perfect interviewer etiquette. Get in there, put all the attention on them, look very, very interested, hearing, listening, getting back into it. It was great.
Yeah. Yeah, Rebecca does slip up a little bit on the item promo segment, and there's a clip. We don't see a ton of Rebecca's actual segment. We do see a clip of Rebecca at the end of her segment going, "Do I get to take that again?" And they go, "No," and she goes, "Fuck," and then walks off. So, but yeah, overall, I think Rebecca did a really good job. I think it was unfortunate that her look and appearance kind of undermined that. And a lot of that, I think, goes back to the decision to make an entirely new dress.
Likely. But that's like a perfect segue into the next, I'm going to call them Rebecca and Jade. They're going to be my super fish. All right. To the next
the
super fish.
Superfish, Jade.
Because they are the fishiest for real. Jade.
Yeah, we got some stuff to talk about with Jade, so let's get into it.
Listen, man, for the first time to me, Jade looked like a man up there, bro. The look was not looking, there was way too much forehead. The makeup wasn't done in a way that like smoothed out like the forehead ridges, like super masculine forehead ridges. So when Jade popped on screen, once I understood what I was looking at, I looked like a man up there in the dress. Just gotta say it. I know that's what it was, but like wasn't supposed to look that way.
It's not supposed to look that way, correct? And like even the image on screen right now of Jade in the red beret or flat cap should kind of be a testament to how Jade tends to look genuinely stunning, and just did not this episode. It didn't work. The dress was way too revealing for the challenge. For
Oprah, when is Oprah? Yeah.
When Oprah would never, ever.
She's wearing a hooker dress out there, man.
Honestly.
You picked that up on the street.
Yeah, there were like some cutouts. There was it was a full midriff, like open section, right? The whole thing just didn't fit with the challenge. The look wasn't great. Jade was the one who I think had to like quickly change what she was doing because she spent what appears to be maybe at least the first half of that 3-hour workroom time expecting to be in blackface dressed like Oprah.
Yeah, probably. But I mean, that doesn't excuse the fact that you're wearing almost nothing on. And I don't think Oprah's shown that much skin ever
Agreed.
Shown that much skin.
Agreed.
That is insane to me. Even in the interview, which I know we'll get to it, but in the interview, Tori's like, all I can think about is abs because Jade's abs are sticking out so far that like it's the main thing on camera. There's no way that Oprah that like reads Oprah to anybody.
Right. Yeah. The prompter, I think for performance, like the conversation is relatively short. Yeah. Jade didn't do particularly well on the prompter. Like just obviously struggled with some of the harder words. I think that was the intention, but the struggle was apparent, and that's never a good thing. I don't even know that we really see much of Jade's item segment. Like I honestly don't think. I went back and like watched through that like 3 times. I don't think there's a single clip. If there is, it's very short. I think Jade's item promo.
I think the only clip we get is of Jade looking at, it's a hairdryer, by the way, looking at the hairdryer like she had never seen a hairdryer before in her life. Like it's upside down and she's looking at it like, what the fuck is this thing? How do I, and bro, you tell me you never seen a hairdryer? So yeah, obviously like not either mid enough or bad enough that it didn't even make the edit. Right.
Didn't really make the edit.
And then the only thing from the interview was Tori kind of talking about the abs sticking out.
Abs. Yeah. I have that here too. Just not much coverage of the interview, and it wasn't great. Dean specifically said we had to work a bit in that interview, and then said killer abs. I'd kill for those abs. And that was like the only thing they really said about it.
Yeah, obviously not a great performance, and some of the worst that I've seen out of Jade as far as trying to look like a woman.
Yeah, Jade and Rebecca typically look queens, not showing up with the looks this episode for sure. I do think Jade is a good segue into Akasha and diving into what was, I guess, overall the mess of Akasha's performance. So, the first thing I wrote is not much of note here, which I think is kind of interesting because then I follow it with the largest note section out of any of the other queens I have. So I don't know why I wrote that.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think she obviously hasn't read some of the words on the teleprompter, right? Like when she's reading through, it's apparent that this is your first time kind of seeing this word. But she does kind of do it with a smile and kind of just move through it. So I didn't have a ton of issues with the prompter performance for her.
For the prompter, for me, it looked like it was the first time that she had seen words. I
Just
don't know.
Words in general.
Maybe because I wrote down, have you read before? Is what I wrote down.
It didn't feel like it. Yeah.
Because each word took effort. It didn't matter if it was the guy's name, Zaboom Boom Vumpa Free Free, or if it was the word the or and. Each of those took the same amount of effort for Akasha. I was like, dang, Akasha, you got to read a little bit more. Stop with them pictures.
Yeah, honestly, Akasha did demonstrate some less than optimal, reading and reading aloud skills for sure. It felt like you could hear Akasha sounding out the words while he was saying it.
Yeah.
I mean, if it got more than like 2 syllables, he would just give up and kind of the rest of the words.
I know Akasha got kicked out at like 15, 16, but I guess parents kept all her books too, because damn.
He's just probably not a big reader, that one.
Yeah, didn't seem like
probably
it.
Not. Yeah. Similar on the item segment as well. Like the ad-libbing was not strong. I specifically wrote down, this is one of my favorite quotes. Akasha says, it also has the shots where it just shoots really rapidly.
Oh, so now we've turned a blow dryer into a gun? Like, what is it?
The shots where it just shoots really rapidly. Okay, great. I love my blow dryer to shoot rapidly.
Yes. Yeah, that's why I buy blow dryers. Only the rapid fire blow dryers.
Only rapid fire blow dryer. Yeah. Fully automatic rapid fire blow dryers, please.
Yes. Yeah. I have to pay a tax stamp for them. But it's a good blow dryer. It's worth it. That's honestly, I think, the only clip we really get of Akasha's item promo segment. Just not super strong on the ad-libbing. And we do spend quite a bit of time on the interview. So let's jump into Akasha's interview. Yes, because this is where the story's at. This is really where the story's at.
Yeah. Yeah. So for starters, what I have is Akasha was interviewing those guests like they were there to see her.
Yes.
Like
that was Akasha's interview, not the interview of Tori Spelling and Dean what's his face.
Yeah, it was almost giving like a Wendy Williams kind of energy of like, this is my show and you are here to see me. And like, the only reason I'm talking to you is by my grace.
Yikes. Sorry, Wendy, but you put yourself in that scenario. Absolutely. It was very much Akasha show with Akasha featuring Tori Spelling.
Some people.
Yeah. Featuring some people. Exactly. Because if it were Tori Spelling and Dean What's-His-Face, you would have stood up for those people, right? That was one of the biggest points of contention, really, for everybody, is the fact that these two celebrities walk in and Akasha, who is drag queen down the street, not even, we're filming the first season of RuPaul's Drag Race. You're not even that drag queen that was on RuPaul's Drag Race yet. You're just the drag queen down the street, and she didn't stand up to greet them. Did she extend her hand for a handshake? I think it was just like, hi, let's get into the interview.
They both came to her and leaned down and gave her a kiss on the cheek and like almost went out of their way to greet and introduce themselves to her. And that's why I spend a little bit of time at the top of the episode specifying that these are real celebrities who are actually here to promote something. And Akasha is very much treating them like they are props for her interview segment. It was wild. They both greet Akasha. Akasha does not get up. Goes through the interview. The interview is like mid. Interviews, whatever, right? And then the interview ends. And Akasha doesn't say shit, doesn't say a damn thing to them, looks off camera at the producers, is like, are we done? Like, not recognizing that there are these two people here next to her. Are we done? Gets a like, yeah. She's like, oh yeah, I killed it. And she gets up and then turns around and bends over and puts her ass right in Tori's face.
Yep.
Like, picks up her cards or something and then just walks off stage.
That's what I was going to
say. Anything.
Yes.
Walks right past both of them.
If you didn't say it, I was. Just walks off stage without a goodbye, a thank you, nothing. Nothing.
I love your show. I'm so happy to meet you. Nothing. Yeah.
What a nightmare.
Yeah. It just did not feel like Akasha recognized that these were actual celebrities. Like, it genuinely, the only way I can reason this in my mind is that Akasha just thought these were just no-name crew members who are out here pretending to be interviewed with Akasha, because otherwise that behavior makes no sense to me. You
know what? Maybe when Akasha got kicked out, not only did she not take the books, also didn't take the TV, so has no idea. Has no idea, right? And that's okay.
No idea who these people are. Yeah. Promoting a show, promoting a book, and Akasha just does not get it. Doesn't treat them with any even tiny ounce of respect, which is crazy. And then for the editors are real dirty for this, to cut from her just cold getting up and walking out on these people to her talking head where she says, and I quote, "I killed it. I'm going to win."
Oh no. Yep. That's messed up. Editors did her dirty there. 100%.
Yeah.
Listen, we haven't even talked about the look, because it's the performance kind of outweighs the look. I think the look was kind of mid. It was very Oprah. I will give Akasha that props. It was very Oprah. Honestly, Akasha, like, as a queen in that, like, kind of ugly. But I'm also not attracted to Oprah, so like that didn't really faze me. Overall, the look was like very streamlined, like late 90s, early 2000s Oprah.
Yeah. I think appearance-wise and stuff, she did okay. Pretty run-of-the-mill. I think she just understood the assignment and delivered for like an appearance and what to look like. But just everything else,
terrible.
Awful.
Really just like leading into her overall personality. Like, it was just bad.
Mm-hmm. And there's that Delulu again, right? Of, oh, I killed it. I did the best.
Yeah.
Nobody did any better interview than me. I think she says when she's putting her ass in Tori's face, I'm going to sabotage the other queens because I did so well.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Absolutely. Delulu. Indeed.
Delulu. Indeed. Yeah. And then, you know, I think that's enough about Akasha. She obviously struggled through this. She's kind of been struggling. That leaves us finally with BB Zahara Benet. I think BB did really strong in this challenge. What are your thoughts?
I think BB may have been the best in this challenge across all queens. I think as we've gone through this, I've said a lot of people were the best, but reminding me of BB's performance, like the reading was super strong, especially for someone who is ESL. Like, leaned into the accent fine. Like, he's got an accent. She's got an accent. Like, that's what's going to happen. The reading was strong. From what I remember, the product thing was very, very short for everyone. But that didn't,
very short.
That seemed to go off without a hitch. Yeah. And then the interview may have been the most professional interview of all the queens, period.
I 100% agree. And let's take a second just to chat about BB's look for this. I think BB nailed the expected look.
Perfect.
Extremely professional, everything. Delivery on the prompter. You're right, we don't see a ton on the item promo segment, but what we do see is perfectly on point. And then we get into the interview, and the interview was extremely strong. I did write that she starts a little bit cold. I think there are a little bit of nerves right at the beginning, but honestly, after like the second sentence, she kind of falls into it, and it just goes really smoothly from there on out.
I actually wrote down the smile turns it on, because she actually starts out not smiling and is like trying hard, but as soon as she gets into the rhythm, starts to smile, and the smile turned it on for her in the teleprompter. And I think she carried that through the rest of the challenges in order, and it just delivered really, really well.
Yeah, I think this was a great challenge for BB. I feel like this was set up to be a great challenge for BB. I think this is BB's strongest suit. To me, between BB and Angina, like, these two are the most professional queens out of anybody. Like, they seem like the best and easiest to work with. BB is very, like you said before, like, we'll just take something in stride, and it's not, oh no, I can't do this. Oh no, I've never done this before. It's, okay, this is my goal. I'm going to break it up into these parts, and this is how I'm going to get it done. And I'm going to do it as best as I can. And that's very apparent here. I think BB just brings it in this.
Agreed.
Challenge.
Yeah, great work ethic. Had a great, very Oprah inspired look that, you know, was fishy enough. And then the performance, just time after time, perfect.
Yeah. And considering resume so far, the first 2 episodes, in addition to this, just consistently good. Good.
One of the most consistent queens for sure.
Yeah. After this maxi challenge, and all the queens go through this, we do have a runway. Before we get to the runway, who, just out of the performance and what you've seen so far for this challenge and this episode specifically, who were your top 3 in the challenge, and who were your bottom 3? Who do you think were going to be on the chopping block?
Yeah, so top 3 out of this challenge, BB on top, followed by Angina and Nina. I think there's no surprises there, which is really interesting because those are the 3 ESL queens, right? From what I know, or the 3 that have the biggest problem with English. I think Jade and Rebecca may also be ESL, but they are much more fluent.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's on a challenge where you have to read English and interact with people in English in a professional manner. And they all 3 killed it. So, like, almost equal in the top 3 for me in that sphere. But if I had to separate them, it would be BB, Angina, and then Nina.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I also have BB as the top for me. And I had Angina and Rebecca in there because I still was just very impressed by how professional Rebecca was, despite the appearance issues and the kind of item promo snafu. The prompter and the interview segments were just extremely strong. So that definitely bumped her into my top 3 for this episode. Just edged out Nina a little bit.
Fair enough. Rebecca, the look really just killed it for me, honestly. It was it was weird.
Also fair.
Yeah.
What about bottom 3? Who did the worst for you?
Yeah, bottom 3, obviously Akasha is going to be way down there. Just super bad overall. The look was mid, but like we said, the performance was just so bad. That's going to be followed by Jade, right? Look and performance kind of on the floor. Jade, really, really weird. Not really an Oprah inspired look. Performance was bad, if not like wish-washy and bad. And then rounding out my bottom 3, good old Chanel. As excited as she was about this damn challenge, she screwed it, man. Screwed herself. Yeah. It was bad. Not only was, the look was bad. It was a look, but it wasn't Oprah, right? So didn't fit the challenge. And then like the performance was just too excited, wanted to do too well, and ended up screwing it for herself.
Yeah, that's the same bottom 3. I think honestly, Akasha and Chanel are like interchangeable for who did the worst in this, with Jade down there as well, but none of them did particularly well. I'm not surprised to see any of those bottom 3. If the judges come out and say any 2 of those 3 queens are the bottom, I would not be surprised one bit.
Not at all.
All right. After the main challenge, we jump into the runway, and the runway has a theme, Dress to Impress. And this one is kind of exciting for the queens because I believe this is the first time they're sort of left to their own devices, right? Where they're just put together whatever look you brought that you think is your drag, and come out here and demonstrate it for us. And the queens are pretty excited to get into this. So I do have visuals for this segment. So
nice.
we will be able to look at the runways for this.
That's good, because I have some opinions on this. I have some opinions here. Probably not right opinions. Again, listen, y'all.
Hey,
I'm going to look into the camera. Listen, y'all. I'm not a fashion guy. I think I wore this shirt in episode 1. Like it's a 10-year-old workout shirt, and I don't have any ones that are younger than this one. So like, listen, I'm not a fashion guy, but if you're here, unfortunately, you're here for my opinion. You're going to get it.
Yep. You're going to get it. And you know, I think we'll both have quite a bit to say. Let's just jump in. Let's just jump into this.
Let's do it.
Because, you know, keeping in mind, these are the looks that the queens brought to represent themselves and try to do it the best way they can. So there's no stipulations from the judges on what you can wear. It is just dress to impress. I want y'all to impress us. All right.
Yes.
So,
but before we jump in, real quick, wait.
Oh, yeah.
Real quick. Yeah. Stop. I want to say something. I will say that once we got here, I was confused going through this episode. It's like, what's the main challenge? What's the mini challenge? What am I looking at? There's just so much
hard to structure.
Yeah. And like, I'm trying to follow again, the template of the notes I'm trying to take down, and it's not quite fitting, but I will say that seeing this structure of this episode and getting to this runway portion, I finally felt like it clicked for a second. It's like, oh, we're doing like the Oprah challenge felt like an actual challenge. Whereas in previous episodes, like the mini or like pre-challenge didn't really feel like it fit or like had enough weight. It ended up being kind of like one long challenge to the end. Whereas this one had like a big middle challenge as well as a, hey, we're going to do a runway challenge. So I felt like as confused as I felt like I finally understood some of where in the future the structure might end up being.
Yeah, this is the first time I think we get the episode itself really segments out the runway section, right? Where I think the first 2 episodes we kind of just bleed into it. It's part of the maxi challenge, so it gets sort of bled in with the rest of the performance. You know, the girl group challenge, I guess, is a little bit different in that sense. I don't know that they actually did like a straight runway on that one. So the formatting of the episodes have been a little rough, and the first part of this episode, I think you might even pick it up in us recording this and being a little bit jumbled in how we get over to certain points, but it was a lot less structured in the beginning, but then we clearly kind of separate out this runway theme and we get a really solid runway segment, which I think is the first time we've done that in this season.
Yep.
So it is quite interesting. And I don't think the queens disappoint. Let's jump in. The first one I got queued up is Chanel. And this is quite the look. This might be the first time we've seen a drag queen walk out in like a breastplate like this, or at least a very exposed breastplate. So I'm very curious what your thoughts are on this general kind of Medusa snake queenie kind of thing going on.
You know, at first I was worried because man, doing this is brave. This is brave. Those are fake. You know what I mean? And we all know that. But I will say that the body acting here carries it really, really well. I don't know what he's doing to get that jiggle going, but at first you're like, oh, fake tits. And then you're like, that looks so real. And I think that this kind of speaks to Chanel's ability to go out and take a risk. And I thought that this looked delivered. I thought that this was really, really cool for the risk that Chanel took here.
Yeah, I 100% agree. This is kind of classic Chanel. So I'm here for it. The face is beat. The makeup is on point. Like, she looks stunning. The dress looks really, really well done. I have in my notes, I need to consider that this is like 2008. There are some things that modern drag and like modern cosplay and stuff have improved upon since then. So like the rubber snakes on the headdress and the like flashlights that are in the gloves on the back of the hands. Not great. Does give it a little bit of a crafty look, but kind of again adjusting that lens to the time frame and what was available. Like, I think Chanel really brought it with this runway. She served it with the face. She served it with the movement, the walk on the runway. And like, we kind of see when we get into the lip sync, we see a little bit more of the, I guess, behind the scenes of this look, but that breastplate looks
spoilers,
really well done.
Spoilers, boy. Yeah. Whoa, dog.
This breastplate is really well done here. And I think Chanel does a good job of kind of masking that this is a breastplate and makes it look quite real.
Yeah, I was impressed with this as much of a not drag person as I am. Like, I can identify that this is brave and, in my opinion, executed really, really well.
Yeah, I agree. I think especially the like skirt and the kind of folding that we have where it bunches up around like just below the belly button and the navel area. All of that is extremely flattering to her body shape. It is tailored extremely well. Gloves these are not full gloves. Gloves are extremely hard to make, right? I do believe Chanel made this whole look. I think it just does a fantastic job.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Another classic, especially a look queen, right? We have Nina Flowers. This is, I think, very classic Nina, very reminiscent of the walk-in look she had in episode 1. So what are your thoughts?
Reminiscent of the walk-in look, the makeup maybe, the color of the hair maybe. But this is the first, I mean, you can say that this is big, sure, but this is not like classic Nina, big hair. What is Nina's last name? Nina Flowers. This is not
Nina Flowers.
Classic Nina big hair Flowers. This is good, man. This is really good, I think. And like this, I feel like you would see this walking down the street and like there's one of the, like you're in New York and there's like one of those flash fashion expos going on and you would see that walking down the runway and it would be a perfect fit. Like, not only is the outfit like really, really good, really, really well put together, but like the makeup's good, the hair is good, the covering of like one face gives it like this mysterious woman look and like even helps cover up the fact that this is
it a little bit.
Elevates the fact that this is like a big man behind this. I love the detail that you actually can't see in this clip, but is something that really, really sold me on this look. Is she didn't put any makeup on her arms. And Nina, if you don't know, is covered from the neck down in tattoos. We got that flash of tattoos. So this is like a 60s like kind of feeling look, but then we get that modern flash of complete sleeve tattoos. And bro, I was sold. I think this look is so dope.
Nice. This is a very interesting look. This is still, I think, very much in the vein of Nina. And what I mean by that is the overall structure of the look and the silhouette that we're bringing. This is also I wrote it as a pant and a corset with a top. I do think there's a possibility this is kind of a onesie that she's got going on, but colors and everything definitely toned down from the walk-in look that was very bright, very loud, and huge hair, right? This is certainly a more reserved kind of toned down version of that, but still very much in that vein, still very much giving Nina Flowers, right? Like if you just showed me this picture and said, which drag queen is this? That's obviously Nina Flowers.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not going to be any of the other queens up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I agree. I think this looks really good. It looks elevated. There's definitely a high fashion aspect to it. It's tailored extremely well. It fits extremely well. No complaints, really. No negative notes for this.
No, this was one of my favorite looks of the night. I am not, again, I'm not a drag guy. It's no secret that there are sometimes painful moments watching through these episodes for me. But my wife was sitting right next to me. And when Nina came out, audibly out my mouth said, wow, like, whoa, this was like one of the favorite things I've seen on screen so far.
It's a great look.
Yeah.
It's a great look. And Nina never disappoints with makeup. Much like Chanel, both of them beat for the gods. Like, just look stunning. And I think the hair, the outfit, the presentation, the walk, the attitude, everything sold it.
For the gods, which according to Chanel are Oprah and Cher. So beat for Oprah and Cher, indeed.
Indeed. Yeah. They would both be impressed, I think. All right. Jumping on, up next, we have Rebecca Glasscock's look on the runway. And I just want to draw the comparison from this look to the look that we had in the challenge, and just how drastically different both the makeup and the overall aesthetic are.
This look gets me all confused because, like, bro, that's a fine ass woman up there. I'm not even gonna lie. Like,
she looks gorgeous.
Holy shit. This is something that would get a straight man in trouble. Like that, she looks absolutely gorgeous. That's messed up. You shouldn't be able to do something like that.
Yeah, this is stunning. This is a lot more reminiscent of what we would expect to see out of Rebecca Glasscock. She, you know, the name of the game for this runway was Dress to Impress, and I think she nailed that. This is a beautiful dress. It's a beautiful fabric. It fits her extremely well. It does a lot to kind of accentuate the more feminine curves, like tightens in her waist a little bit without being cinched, which is a big thing. Overall, I think this is stunning. The choice of makeup, the choice of jewelry, like these earrings, they're like dream catcher earrings that she has going on, all of it. The shoes, I just think it's a very classic, very well put together look, and it looks beautiful.
That wig even, man, like the wig is integrated so well. And like, I think like I'm starting to see that some of these queens utilize like certain things to hide some of their proportions, right? So like a man's jawline and head much bigger, forehead much more exaggerated most often than a woman. So we see like bigger earrings and things that help kind of scale things in a way that make it more feminine. So like even like you said, the Dreamcatcher earrings, these really long hanging earrings, kind of giving her an appearance of a smaller face. Like, golly, this was just such a good look. I'm gonna stop talking about it before people start thinking I'm some kind of way, but like this was great.
I think it's great. I don't think there's any problem in being honest that this is a beautiful look and this is a stunning person. And yeah, I think she kind of kills it here. So this overall for Rebecca, this is a strong episode. We have a little bit of a fumble in the appearance on the challenge and in the item promo segment, but otherwise strong showing for Rebecca. Really, at least in my mind, because I have been kind of ragging on Rebecca for the first two episodes, this definitely elevates her to me better understanding why she's still here and, you know, that she can compete with the rest of these queens.
Yep. Very good.
Yeah. And then up next, a very different aesthetic in general, Ongina.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Now this, before, I imagine you have some things to say before you dive into it. One, always want to comment that Ongina just loves a fascinator or small headpiece. The fact that there's a whole Barbie on this that's just kind of hanging off the side is funny to me. I kind of live for it. I think it is really funny. I don't love Ongina's silhouette choices in general. And I think that was reminiscent in episode 1 in the like toilet paper look, right? This is a similar silhouette. I think this is the type of silhouette she was going for in that first one. This is executed much better. This is a very pretty dress, I think. I think the overall aesthetic of Ongina and coming out without a wig is definitely a choice. But I like this dress and I like this look as a whole.
Man, I don't like this shit. Honestly, like, bro, as soon as I saw this, I just like, it was a big sigh of what the fuck. You took the toilet paper dress that everyone hated in Act 1 in episode 1, and you dipped it in some black. You dipped it in some black dye, and you wore it again. Like,
made it black and put a belt on it. Yeah.
Like it's bad. It's bad. Look at the last two queens we just looked at. Look at Nina and look at Rebecca, and then look at that. You gonna tell me that this is the same caliber as Nina and Rebecca? Ain't no way, man. Ain't no way. Like, listen, I'm cool with you not wanting to wear a wig. I'll get down with that. You want to do the fascinator thing? Cool. There's nothing wrong with a strong, sexy, bald woman. But like, bro, this is not it. This is not it. You put a damn Barbie up on your hat, a big plastic, and the hair on the Barbie looks like that Barbie has been fucked, man. That Barbie is messed up. And then bro, listen, it's just, I don't like it. I don't like it. I'm gonna stop talking about it because I'm getting mean. I don't like this shit. It doesn't look good.
That's funny. That's funny. It definitely leans more into the gender bendy, campy side of drag than it does like high fashion, gorgeous aesthetic, which I think both Nina like slightly toes that line with her look being just mildly campy, definitely more so in the walkout look than on this runway. I don't think there was really anything campy about this runway look. Angina looks like a drag queen, where like the other queens that have come out just look like beautiful women in beautiful dresses, where Angina, this is all giving drag queen. It's all giving a little bit gender bendy, and like a little bit camp on top of like being a well-made dress and everything. So I don't hate it, but I definitely see where you're coming from for sure.
Honestly, if you cut her head off at the shoulders and take that Barbie off her head, like still looks like a woman, honestly. Like we can say this looks like a drag queen because of some of her choices, but like the makeup is done really, really well. That looks like a woman, like a very beautiful Asian woman up there. But like everything else is just shit.
It just doesn't do it for you.
No, I'm so over it.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, up next, switching gears back a little bit to what we had seen before, we have Akasha in just kind of a classic brown dress. Now, I wish the clip I had has it.
No,
but the elephant in the room, it doesn't have it. The elephant in the room is that Akasha walks out here, and right after this clip kind of loops back when she starts to walk, she gets maybe 2 steps down the runway, slips and falls, steps on her dress, and slips and falls right on her ass.
Listen, man, we like to talk about how Akasha is a great performer, but honestly, if we look at episode 1, 2, and 3 of these walks and dances that she does, she is not graceful. She's not a good performer. She falls in this one. The first walk in episode 1 is kind of clunky and ugly. She can't dance in episode 2 for shit. Like it's bad. It's bad. She's kind of bad. I think she is just like the bottom of the barrel that just like barely scrapes past with her abilities.
Yeah. I think that's been kind of apparent. She does kind of lean into the fall, does a little like spin and pose before she gets up, and then continues to struggle with the dress through the rest of the runway.
Yes.
Continues to struggle with it. And we'll talk more about that when we get into the judge segment and kind of what they talk about with Akasha. But overall, kind of rough. Even this clip that we have, this little presentation thing of the like, what is this? The like really tight hand kind of coming out. The face, what is the face giving right now? What do you, it's, the whole thing is confused to me.
Yeah, I'm thinking really, really hard about how to put one foot in front of the other right now. That's what that face is giving.
Yeah, and she needed to think a little harder about it, apparently. Just not great. The outfit, the dress it's a beautiful dress. I think there is more Akasha could have done to kind of adjust her body shape, because it is giving kind of square. Like the dress is designed to cinch the waist with that like sort of triangular crossbody, or I guess it's like, what is that, like a diamond like shape of these bands that sort of crisscross around the midsection and just inherently kind of draw the whole area in toward the middle. But I don't think she did a good job of like leaning into that. I think you mentioned before the drag queens kind of altering their body shape through various tactics. One of the big things they do is padding, and it'll come up, I imagine, at some point in the future. Queens get red for padding. I can't tell if Akasha has padding on her ass and hips right now. If she doesn't, I think she could have done with maybe a little bit more. I think she could have done with a breastplate or something to kind of bulk up the top a little bit, and again, kind of thin out that waist and bring it in. Because otherwise, I think the dress is really beautiful. I think the dress is more wearing her than she's wearing it.
I'll be real with you. This dress reads like, you remember, man, years ago now, back in high school, when girls were buying prom dresses before they went to prom, and then they had to lose weight in order to fit in that prom dress. And then there are some girls who didn't lose enough damn weight, couldn't fit in that prom dress quite right. That's what this dress reads to me. Is I brought my prom dress. I hope that I eat little enough to lose enough weight to shove my ass in here. And you know what? You should have skipped a couple more meals because your ass didn't fit in there.
Could have knocked another 5 to 10 pounds off, honestly, for this
easily.
dress. And that's not to say that Akasha needs to lose weight or anything. It's just, again, talking about the fit of the dress and the way it's being worn. Yeah, 100% see that. It does. As soon as you started talking, I knew that this is what you were going to say. It does read prom dress from that era.
Big time.
Very much so. Which kind of knocks it down a little bit too, because it's not super elevated. Not that prom dresses aren't beautiful and can be extremely beautiful. And again, I think this is a beautiful dress, but
I mean, prom dress is kind of, let's be real, man. I'm not going to play with these people watching. Prom dress is kind of hokey. Kind of just across the board, prom dresses are hokey, and this is a hokey ass look that she's got on.
It's not great. It's not great. Just rough. And the fall, you stack the fall on top of it. You stack the weird face that she's making the whole time. The like general lack of energy and kind of, I don't know, for someone who's like so confident in their performance earlier in the challenge, like we're not selling anything about this dress. And it does read very much like this is the first time I've put this on, which the judges kind of talk about too. And we'll get into that again a little later when we get into the judge critiques, but not a great showing for Akasha.
I know we're spending a lot of time here, but something kind of just dawned on me. I feel like, so like you're RuPaul, right? Once you envision this, you're RuPaul, you're, as she said, the world's first mega supermodel or whatever it is. You have a name for yourself. So when you enter into a space and you turn around, you're reverent just because of who you are. And I feel like Akasha feels that way about herself and tries to get that to read on screen, because it's just like, it feels so low effort in what she's doing that I feel like she feels that her presence alone should read as something like substantial, and it doesn't.
Yeah. And I think I think it's less about whether or not Akasha's like done the work or like put in anything to get that reverence, but more about just sort of how you carry yourself, where like to make an analogy just off the top of my head, Akasha feels arrogant where someone like BB feels confident.
Yes, very much so. Right. That's a really, really clever distinction. I agree with that.
Yeah, it's definitely the vibes I'm getting, because there is just a sense of arrogant of like, well, here I am in this look that we get right here, right?
Straight up.
Yeah, so I definitely see that for sure. Jumping on, we get to Jade up next, and this is an interesting look for Jade in general. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Like first, I was surprised that we would get this revealing of an outfit from really anybody. But as the walk went on, and it's really unfortunate that we don't get a clip of the actual walk, because as the walk went on, I was kind of about it. I think later on the judges call out being able to see like Jade's thing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But where in the last episode, I could definitely see like a flipped up schlong for angina. Here, it read more like, poofy down area than it did like an actual thing. So like I even like let that suspend my disbelief and just believe that, we had a poofier
poofier.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know why I'm trying to say PG when I've said fuck 3 times already. But like overall, I think I kind of like this look. I think as she was walking, they were talking about how it very much gives like that Diana Ross and the Supremes look. I was about it. I think that's right up my alley, and I thought it looked good. Not to mention that Jade is one of the fishiest, like most beautiful queens that we have. Yeah. I thought I like this look.
Yeah, Jade is stunning. Gorgeous, great hair, great makeup, good look all around. I was a little interested in this. She's obviously leaning on serving body over really anything else.
Yeah.
And like that can be a vibe. That can be a total vibe. Here, it felt like it just wasn't quite enough compared to what we've seen with like Chanel coming out, with Nina coming out, with Rebecca coming out. Like this is a beautiful look, but it's just, it didn't quite get there for me. And then the problems with the tuck and stuff on top of that definitely didn't help.
Yeah, you know, in comparison to things like Nina and even Chanel, I don't know, Nina, I think is in a whole different league this go round. But I put this up there with that. I think that this was good, man. Again, I'm not a fashion guy. I don't know much about any of this shit, but I thought this was great. I thought it was good.
Hey, at the end of the day, it's opinion.
Right.
What you like, what you don't
right.
like.
And that's what you're here for. My opinion.
Yeah.
And that's why it matters.
We both differ on Jade and on Gina, right?
Yeah.
Which I think is fair. But overall, I don't think there's a ton to say about this look in general. Jade is obviously gorgeous and continues to be gorgeous in this look. And it's neither particularly good nor particularly bad in my mind. Finally, we have BB's look, and BB comes out. I'm glad we get the reveal here, right?
Oh, so good.
Big coat, and then just reveals this full bodysuit. I did put, before we dive in about our opinions and everything, I did think it was very funny, and the editors, again, kind of doing her a little wrong on this, where she says in the edit while we're walking, or while we're coming out in this look, Africa isn't all about the leopards and lions. And then proceeds to take this coat off and then be in an entire bodysuit leopard print.
Yeah, like, that didn't age well, did it? That didn't age well at all. Not.
With this huge hair that does seem reminiscent of a bit of a lion's mane. That like it was a little funny to me that, you know, we edited her saying it's not all about the leopards and lions, and then proceeds to reveal a very leopard lion forward look.
Listen, man, if this ain't out of Coming to America, I don't know what is. Like, this is very, very welcome in the court of Zamunda, because this is straight like stereotypical Eddie Murphy African as it gets. So yeah, terrible that the editors put it there, but it doesn't mean that it's bad, because honestly, it's not great. Bad. It's a very, very good look. That's a very beautiful African woman up there doing her thing. You know what I mean? And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I'm not personally a huge fan of animal prints like leopard print and stuff in general.
Me neither. I don't like it at all.
Yeah, and I'm also not the biggest fan of like a bodysuit. So conceptually, I'm not the biggest fan of this look kind of in general, but she does sell it. Like, she sells the shit out of it. It looks really good. And BB has this whole like Cameroon vibe, and I think this plays really well into this. We get, I think, other than maybe Chanel and Nina, this is probably the best demonstration of who BB is as a performer on the runway. Where I think Chanel and Nina, on Gina too, to a lesser degree, also kind of do that, like demonstrate who they are with their runway look. I think BB nails that. Like, you get who BB is when you look at this.
I agree, but you know, an interesting question pops into my head, because BB always kind of goes this way, and so far it's worked out incredibly well for all of the challenges. But is it more impressive to be able to like switch it up in the way that we see on Gina do, right? Go from wig to no wig, you know, steampunk, Asian style, whatever it may be. She's able to kind of flow through it all, versus BB that has a very, very particular style, but can make it work through all of the challenges that are presented against her. Does that make her one-dimensional? I don't know.
I think it just means she has a voice, right? She has a take on things, and
A
she kind of
brand.
keeps that voice consistent. Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Where like Angina, it can be hard to determine what is the Angina part about all of this, right? Like you take the funny fascinator off her head, and it's like, where'd she go? Who is this?
That's fair.
Nina, I think, does a better job of this. Chanel delivers personality through these kind of wild looks. But like Nina also, in my mind, very clearly has a take, has like a voice, and keeps that consistent, even though the walkout look and this runway look are very different. They're also very much the same. And I think BB also kind of does that, where she's able to adapt that voice and that take on things pretty well. But it's definitely something we should watch through the rest of the season, right? We're only 3 episodes in. We want to see how adaptable BB can be.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see if when BB has her choices, if there's ever a time where she doesn't come out looking like Tina Turner. If that happens, then I'll be truly impressed.
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. This is the final runway look, so we do move on from this into the judge critiques. I only have a couple of notes here, but I do want to talk a little bit about this. Starting off, the first thing I have written down is when Ru's talking to Chanel and gives Chanel the critique of being too flawless. I think she says the runway look that she brings has kind of a Vegas showgirl thing to it, and like Chanel just sort of radiates this perfection all the time. And Ru says they want to see some more vulnerability, and I wholly agree with this critique.
Interesting. I mean, it's Ru's show, so you got to do what Ru says. But also, if I'm competing, I feel like I'm always going for flawless. So like that was a really, really interesting critique to me. Almost as interesting as the crazy comment of Chanel looking too slutty. Maybe that's like okay in 2009, but that was like, man, that was close to body shaming in my opinion. It's like, man, how are you going to sit there and call somebody slutty in the middle of a fashion show? That was a crazy critique to me.
Yeah, and we'll see a few of those in the earlier seasons. You remember as well as I do that 2009 was a very different place for things like body shaming and slut shaming and fat shaming, etc. Mm-hmm. So yeah, there is definitely going to be a little bit of that. But yeah, I think overall, like the judges talk about Chanel not doing well in the challenge. We all kind of know that. It's clear that Chanel's not doing well, and the judges kind of see that. She did have a strong runway, but I don't think it was enough to kind of keep her off the chopping block. For the rest of the queens, I don't think I have something for everybody. I do have Rebecca. They talk about being kind of stiff on the runway in the walk, which I kind of see, but otherwise she gets good critiques through the challenge, which is fair. BB gets good critiques on the challenge. They said she was extremely professional, like did an extremely good job. I think the judges even talk about some stuff we don't get to see on camera of just BB being really good in this challenge, which helps kind of cement my take from it earlier. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, overall, kind of like we've said episode after episode, BB is absolutely the most consistently good queen in this season. So like not surprised to see judges commenting kind of on that through line of just being really, really consistently good and almost impenetrable, for lack of a better words in her performance.
Yeah, extremely strong. To contrast that, Akasha gets read for filth in this,
yes.
Right?
Yep.
One of the first things I think Ru says is like every good diva knows to test drive her dress, talking about the fall. And then just everything else from there, being rude to the guests in the interview, the poor performance across the board. Like this was definitely, I think a wake up call for Akasha. Not that she hasn't already had at least 2 of these from the previous episodes, but like another wake up call for Akasha, thinking she did so well in this challenge, and the judges just tearing her apart.
Yes, the breaking of the reality was just great for me. Akasha living in a completely different reality than everybody else, thinking that she absolutely killed it, and then the judges absolutely tearing it down, letting her know that, hey, you're not the stuff that you think you are. Like, you might have a little bit of talent, but the skill is not there. And someone finally said it to her face.
Yeah, and I think she needed it. For sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we also get a segment on Jade where they do kind of read Jade for her poor performance in the challenge. And then they also say, I have written here a quote from Ru talking about Jade's poor tuck job in this runway, saying, it's interesting to see such a beautiful woman with such a big cock.
Yeah. Yep, that's exactly what Ruth says. And it didn't read that to me. It really didn't. It was yes, there was a bulge there. But like, it wasn't just straight up like outline of penis. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see as we get deeper into this season and later series, like how your opinion on some of these things kind of change. Because I also didn't think it was that bad, but like after kind of hearing everybody talking about it, going back and look at it, it's like comparing it to other queens later on who I have seen do genuinely a much better job. One of the, biggest look queens in some of the future seasons, who is an absolutely stunning performer, is Plastique Tiara. And like when we kind of get in and you kind of see some of these other queens, even next season has a couple of really strong queens. I think both Raven and Raja are on season 2. I think once you see some of these other queens and how well they do some of these things, I do think it might change your opinion a little bit on how poorly Jade did in this particular segment.
Perhaps, but also, like, there's nothing wrong with a poofy poon. Just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
If you got a poofy poon out there and it's even poofier than what Jade's tuck job was, it's okay. It's beautiful as well. Ain't nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. Yep. Very true. So yeah, all the critiques. Do you have any other notes just in general about the judge critiques?
No, but like, again, man, calling Chanel a slut, like, or saying that she looks slutty, crazy, bro. Crazy to me. I can't get over that. I wrote that in all caps.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I kind of see what they mean, but that is crazy work.
And also I think I disagree with like the choices here of who went into lip sync for their lives. I don't think I would put Chanel in there.
Well, hold on. We'll get to that.
Let me eat that back up.
Yeah. Before we dive into that, which I believe is no surprise to anyone, BB is announced as the winner of this challenge.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And I think, like, honestly, I think it might have come down to BB and Rebecca, because just how well Rebecca did. But I think the consistency of the looks and the runway really edged Rebecca out for BB as the winner. And I don't disagree with that. No,
I mean, I think they pick a winner based on the entirety of the performance, from the runway look to the maxi challenge. So, I mean, definitely no contest, honestly, in my opinion, that BB is the winner of this episode.
Yeah, this was a strong episode for BB and really kind of pushed her up to the top, for sure. But, up next, we get into the 2 bottom queens. As you kind of mentioned a second ago, we have Chanel and Akasha. And it's interesting. I want you to dive into this. It's interesting that you disagree with this, because I agree with this. I think both of these queens did the worst.
Nah, man. I think Chanel may have flopped a little bit on the maxi challenge, right? But even with the flop, probably still did better than Jade or Rebecca. Also, I think, like if we're going to call out Jade's poor tuck job in comparison to honestly what I think is not only brave, but almost flawless look out of Chanel here. Like, I'm not sure that I would have put Chanel in the bottom when I take into account like the entire episode.
That's interesting. Really interesting to me that you bring Rebecca up in that. I think Rebecca had a solid runway and a mostly really strong performance in the challenge, where Jade, I definitely saw Jade, as we kind of talked about this, right? It was between these two and Jade for who was going to end up being in the bottom.
Yeah.
And I think we just don't see a lot of Jade. I think we see a little bit more of Chanel's mess ups in the episode, which reads to me like maybe she just messed up a little more in general than Jade did on the Maxi Challenge. Because again, she's just not present in a lot of the clips.
Yeah.
I do agree that Chanel's runway is better than Jade's.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
But I think Chanel did some like cardinal sins, like addressing someone off camera and like talking to a producer. Cardinal sin, like do not do that. Talking over the interviewee, not letting them answering 100 questions, like it's kind of defeating the purpose of the interview, right?
Very fair.
So like I think in my mind these two queens are the ones that deserve it. While Jade was very close to being down here, I think just some of the stuff of Chanel's performance in the challenge does kind of outweigh the difference in their runway presentation and the fact that Chanel does kind of blow the other two out of the water with her runway.
That's fair. But let's talk about like the performance here, excuse me, of the lip syncing for their lives.
The actual lip sync. Yeah.
Yeah. We had some things, honestly, as it was going on, I was like, this is relatively equivalent. Neither of them really like impressing me at all with their performance.
Yeah.
But then Chanel's entire headdress falls off, right?
Yep.
Showing like this really, really messy, glued down boy hair. And I'll give her props. She rolls with it, even like leans into it a little bit at the end, jumps to the point of the fake titties falling off as well.
Taking the breastplate off. Yeah.
Yeah, which like, you know, is okay. But as soon as that happened, like I'm in my notes saying that that's who lost. Like, okay,
right.
Like you're performing here and you let your entire costume fall off and leaned into it to the point that like now your tits are gone. So like,
yeah,
didn't you lose? And I think like Akasha's sins of the past came to haunt her here.
Yeah, I have a slide for this. Yeah, we get both the queens lip syncing to "Greatest Love of All" by Whitney Houston, which any Whitney Houston song I think makes for a good lip sync song because it's just a lot going on. There's a lot you can do with it, and I think I wholly agree with your take on this. When we start, neither queen's really giving a ton. Chanel's giving more face. She's really kind of leaning into the like performing for the back of the house, just exaggerated facial expressions while singing. I think a lot of that is because Chanel can't move around very much in this dress. I don't think it was like indicative for dancing.
And that would have been okay, right? Because like that's the thing. Sometimes you have a costume that does not lead to dancing, right? And that's okay. And I think Chanel, as a showgirl or having shows in Vegas, understands that. And that's why she took that approach of like, we're going to be very regal here. We're not going to have a lot of like up and down movement. We can do some side to side, but I'm going to read with the face. And that would have been okay with me. But then she completely destroys her costume.
Yeah. So I do want to get into that. Akasha, I don't honestly, let's wrap up the conversation for Akasha in this lip sync. She did it. She was there. She was on stage. Period. Done. In the discussion. I don't think there's really anything worth talking about.
No.
With what Akasha did. Chanel, right? So this, I'll say, I think as a general rule, as a rule of thumb, as like kind of a baseline, you're 100% correct. And that is exactly what you would expect. One of the kind of touted quickest ways to lose a lip sync, aside from not knowing the words is almost an immediate elimination, right? If you know the words, if your wig falls off, that's such a huge no-no in Drag Race. And like, it's kind of a recurring thing in future episodes and future seasons. It's like a big deal. Having your outfit fall apart while you are performing is bad, period. Like, just generally speaking. Now, all that being said, I think what happened here, because we get through this with Chanel, kind of has all these malfunctions through the performance, but otherwise I think is serving kind of a lot of energy, where Akasha is again just sort of doing a general Akasha thing, and I don't think really bringing too much to the table here. And we do ultimately end up with Chanel being safe. And I think this is part of what we want to talk about the most here, which is how does Chanel stay safe given all of the malfunctions and everything that happened in this lip sync?
I'll tell you how. Akasha is such a piece of shit that no one could work with her anymore. That's all. I mean, that's what it is, right? Because she definitely didn't lose. Sure. She didn't lose the lip sync. She lost the audience is what happened.
She lost the
from
audience,
episode 1 to episode 2 to this episode. You were enough of a piece of shit throughout each episode that no one wants to work with you anymore. So it didn't matter if Chanel bent over and showed her own asshole. She was not going to lose this lip sync for her life. Akasha was gone from the beginning.
I think resume played a huge role in the decision here for sure. Akasha had shown zero improvement on all of the things she's been critiqued on since episode 1. Not an ounce of improvement. And more than that, an attitude that indicates she would not improve despite what you said, right?
In the bottom three times in a row. Of course you're not going to improve. Yeah, come on.
There's only 3 episodes and you've been in the bottom every single time. Not good, not good. I think you compound that with the critique that Chanel got before this lip sync of being too flawless, not being vulnerable on stage, to the point where she's like keeping her own emotion and her own opinion and her own like self out of her performance because she wants to be specifically flawless. And then you have this lip sync where it becomes kind of clear Chanel definitely starts with that like regal, I'm not going to move a lot, I'm going to serve a lot of face, this is how I'm going to deliver that. But she does kind of just genuinely get into the song a little bit, and that's when she starts bouncing up and down, and that's when the headpiece falls off.
Yeah.
And then I think instead of like falling apart with that, she just goes, you know what? Fuck it. I like this song. I'm having fun with what I'm doing. Fuck it. I'm just going all out. It is what it is. And if I go home, I go home.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of that vulnerability they were talking about, where it's like, it's okay to fuck up. I want you to just be you and have fun out here, and we'll have fun with you, kind of a thing. So I think some stars aligned that allowed for Chanel to commit what could be considered a cardinal sin in lip syncing and still get away with it. And in fact, maybe having it be a little bit of a plus for her over Akasha.
You know what? When you put it that way, she definitely turned an oh shit moment into like a yes queen moment. Like I can like, right. I'm going into the zone of being there, and her wig falls off, and you're like, oh no. And then she just starts singing even harder, throws her wig into the audience, and you're like, yes, queen.
Yes.
Yes. You know?
Yes. Yes, exactly. Yes. Fuck, work it, mama.
Yes. All right. I feel it.
Yeah. So I definitely think that brought it back. That on top of the pure resume issues from Akasha and just not showing a willingness to improve or a desire to improve or adjust based on feedback, definitely, I think, sent her home. So we do finish the episode with Akasha being eliminated here on episode 3.
Sashay away,
Akasha.
Episode 3. I'm already using the terminology, bro.
Oh yeah, it's gonna get worse. I can't wait. So yeah, Akasha's gone. Neither of us are too broken up about that. I think it was time. I do think I want to get into our personal top and bottom 3 for the rest of the series. Now that Akasha's gone, we have, in my mind, a pretty competitive group here, where like Jade and Rebecca maybe are on the lower end of this, but they've all been relatively strong, I think.
Yeah, I can agree. I think overall we have queens that can compete with each other at a relatively at the level that they can compete. Again, I have issues with overall these queens' ability to be flexible performers. But nonetheless, I think as far as this season goes, we're like down to the people who are going to be duking it out really hard.
Yeah, these people are competing for the win for sure. Real quickly, just my top 3 after this episode. I have BB up at number 1 right now. I think she's been really consistent. I think this was a super strong episode for her. Directly under her in a very close second, I have Angina. In my mind, these 2 queens are making it to the end, to the finals. Yeah. And it's like everyone else is kind of competing for that 3rd spot. And by everyone else, I mean Nina and Chanel. And like, I think Nina did better this episode, which puts her above Chanel in my book for that 3rd spot. But we'll have to see. But I'm pretty locked in that BB and Angina are going to be in the finals.
Yep, I have the exact same top 3. BB, Angina, and Nina, right? I think that we've seen some of the most strong performances out of those 3 consistently, as well as the ability to be somewhat flexible. Nina probably being the least flexible. Angina and BB being more flexible. And that's just going to lead to championship qualities, the ability to go the extra mile.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I do think my little prediction for the next episode is just there's not many queens left and the competition is getting fierce from here on out.
Absolutely. You know, it's tough because I, of course, prefer queens that are a bit fishier, right? So like Rebecca and Jade being in my bottom 3 coming out of this episode is a little tough for me to swallow because I do think overall they serve some of the most beautiful looks. But it's going to be a competitor's game. It's not all about the look that you can serve. It's about how well you can play the game. And BB and Angina and even Nina have shown over and over again that not only can they play the game, but they can deliver almost every single time. Chanel, hanging on by a thread for me. We'll see. Yeah. Because if you can't, as a competitor, if you can't control those nerves, you can't control that excitement, it's not going to play out better as the competition gets heavier. So we'll see how Chanel can handle that moving forward, can still be a great competitor, but right now falling out of the top 3 for me.
Yeah, I think Chanel, Rebecca, and Jade have all had ups and downs through these last few episodes, and it's going to be interesting over the next couple of episodes to see how things shape up. In my mind, BB, Angina, and Nina are a bit of a whole head above the rest of the competition right now. So I would be shooketh if Nina goes home next episode. I don't even think it's possible BB or Angina could go home next episode. They might. But I would be shooketh to see any one of those 3 going home.
Agreed.
I think that wraps it up for us for season 1, episode 3. How are you feeling about Drag Race just as a whole, going from literally nothing to 3 episodes in?
I will say that as I'm finding out, an extremely straight man. As I watch more episodes, I'm finding out just how straight I am. There's some things that are not quite up my alley, a little bit difficult to make it through, but I am a competitor. I'm a competitor. I'm a coach, right? So I like really enjoy the competition part. I think I enjoy these conversations more than I even enjoy the show, because then we really get to break these people down and understand like what's going on here and how they're bringing it to the game. So like, man, I'm just a player that likes to play a game. And it doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, upside down, right ways, left ways. Like, we're playing a game here and we're competing. So I'm going to look at this just like any other competition.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think it's built really well as a competition show. Even in season 1, I think they do a good job. And it only gets better. as we get into later seasons. So yeah, I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm enjoying it as well. I get excited for these conversations. Hopefully our viewers or listeners are also enjoying it. If you are here and you've been here since the first episode, we appreciate it. We'll continue to release episodes as we go. We're mostly doing this for funsies, so I think we're going to be here for a little while, whether or not people like it. So,
yeah, if you don't like it, too bad. Join us in season 8.
Yeah, exactly. Come back later. Maybe you'll like it then. We're also talking about potentially doing some other series, some other things, so keep an eye out for that. We might have some new stuff coming down the pipeline. So if Drag Race isn't quite your speed, maybe we'll find something that you do enjoy.
And we're out.
And we're out.